All right. So first on what Tzvi's saying, there's a gewaltige Maisa. It's related to what we're learning over here. There's a gewaltige Maisa. It was one of the big gedolim, Reb Cheskel Abramsky. Cheskel Abramsky made many svarms. Very big Talmud Chacham. So Reb Cheskel Abramsky was in Siberia. Many Yidden were in Siberia. Many big tzaddikim. Cheskel Abramsky was in Siberia, freezing cold. They would work a whole day. They couldn't necessarily do the mitzvahs. And Cheskel Abramsky, one morning he woke up, and what is the first thing a Yid does when he wakes up? He says, Moida ani lefanecha. I thank you, Hashem, shechazartu bi neshmasi, that you gave me back my neshama. Bechem lo rabba, with great mercy, and munasecha. What does munasecha mean?
Hashem's emunah in me.
Oh, the Pashup Pshat is, and munasecha means to say that bechem lo rabba, with great mercy, is munasecha, is you're trustworthy. You're trustworthy. Meaning to say that I have a moon on you, that I trust in you. That what? What is the trust? Simple pshat. The trust is that we give our neshama to the Rebbeinu Shalom when we go to sleep. The Rebbeinu Shalom gives it back to us. All right. So Cheskel Abramsky wakes up in the morning. It's freezing cold. He knows he has to work a whole day. He can't do mitzvahs. He can't do anything. No family. No nothing. Being tortured. Right. And Moida ani lefonecha. I thank you, Hashem. You gave me back my neshama. Cheskel Abramsky stops and he thinks. And he says, why am I thankful to Hashem if I'm giving me back my neshama? Do I really want to live? So he stops. And he stops. And he starts thinking. Till the Rebbeinu Shalom put into his mind, Gevalt, it's true. I didn't have a physical life. I didn't necessarily have a spiritual life, right? I don't know if he was able to put on the film, right? I don't know if he was able to daven, but probably not. But he thought to himself, well, one thing I could still have, you know what that is? I can have the greatest mitzvah, that's a munah b'Hashem. Gevalt, it's kedai to live for that. So he said, then he continued saying, the greatest achmanas Hashem has on me is a munah sechel, that I can have a munah on it. The greatest mercy Hashem has on me is a munah sechel, I can have a munah on you. So that's the avoido of tzaddikim. The avoid of tzaddikim is always to find light in every situation. A yid, connect to Hashem, you can always find light in every situation. Related to what we're learning over here in the Likutei Moharan, of finding the or, and the choshech, and the hester, right? The hester b'toich hester, to find the or, to find light in every place. So we were discussing over here in the Likutei Moharan, continuing in the middle of Oy Zayin, right? Nun Vav Oy Zayin. So, continuing over here, the Likutei Moharan spoke about the concept that you have it, see? The Likutei Moharan discussed over here that there's a concept of that the mikvah is Mashiach Mikol HaTzaros, right? Mikvah saves from all tzaros, right? Cancels out all the hardships, chas v'shalom. And so also the mikvah cleanses a person from all type of tumas. And the Likutei Moharan combined those two together. That why does the mikvah clean out from any type of spiritual dirt, any type of tumah chas v'shalom? Because the root of tumah is badness. The root of tumah, we explained this, that the root of tumah, when Hashem says, or Chaim HaKadosh explained, when Hashem says don't do this action, right? This is an aveira, means to say because the essence of this is bad in every way possible, right? So the mikvah, so every aveira is connected with badness, with rudeness. Tremendous aside. Therefore, the mikvah that is Rachmim Gedolim, like Nachman said, it's the Shar Chamishim, it's the 50th gate of Bina, which is Mamish, ultimate mercy of the Rebbeinu Shalom, that gets revealed on this world, right? That is the mikvah. Right, that's what the mikvah has, we explained. That's why the mikvah has a boim saw. Yeah, you remember the Shmuz Eitan? The mikvah of Shmuz. Huh?
Mikvah of Shavuos. What about the mikvah of Pesach?
Oh, getting to it. The mikvah of Pesach is the matzah. Well, I like that.
Wow. Oh, that's the whole thing. That's all on Instagram.
The mikvah. Oh, here, Likutei Moharan. The mikvah is the mikvah. How many saw does a mikvah have to have? A boim saw. A saw is a certain quantity. A boim saw. Right? The Mishnah tells, we're going to see later in Likutei Moharan, the Mishnah tells them Masechta Savos that at what age does a person come to the proper madrega of bina, of deeper understanding? 40 years old. Ben Arbaim, the Mishnah of us goes through different ages of a person. Bechamish l'mikra, when you're 5 you start learning and so on. It says Ben Arbaim l'bina. Arbaim l'bina.
So what are we now?
What?
So what are we now?
Meaning?
At 23.
Yeah.
Nothing?
At
At
23?
40 or...
If you work on to reach the madregas of bina that you are there and you are 23, then you reach a Philly when you become 40. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. So ben arbaim lebina. The mikvah is the greatest madrega of bina. Right? That's why the mikvah has arbaim so. Ben arbaim 40 is connected with bina. In any case, so the mikvah is great yachmem, right? Of the Rabbanan Shalom, and therefore it takes away any type of pain, right? And that goes together with cleansing a person, because every sin is rooted in pain. That's what we learned in the Likutei Moharan. Then Reb Nachman, in pain, yes, because we explained last time that we think that our oynish on aveira is like it's a consequence. There's no such a thing by the Rabbanan Shalom as consequence. The actual aveira is that pain, right? Every avera is rooted in something bad, right? No lashon pasuk tiyasecher asech chas v'shalom. Your own evilty will pain you, right? So when we reveal Racham of the Rabbanan Shalom, that is cleansing of sin, because sin is badness. It's one. Everyone gets the idea.
I'm sorry.
Everyone doesn't get that.
You said the mikveh has two things, and Rachman's connecting the two.
Yes.
One of them was
that it cleanses a person from sin.
Yeah.
Another thing is that it cancels out any type of hardships.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay. Oh. So
Reb Nachman puts these two together.
Thank you.
Right? Reb Nachman says that why is it that the mikvah cleanses? How is it? Because the mikvah is rachmem and therefore it cancels out hardships, therefore it cleanses. Mm-hmm. Meaning to say, because the metzias of chait, right? The metzias of chait, the impurity of chait, goes hand in hand. It's one being of, oh wow, Gedalia. Right? Achav Agadol. Yeah, it says the Gemara says that you gotta give respect to your older brother. You're doing that avoid, huh?
I already knew that. I'm well learned in that
There's actually a shayla in the poskim if it means to say only the oldest brother or a brother that's older than you. The shayla. Yeah, Hagadol. In any case, so Ibn Nachman says that there's what we learned last week. This is where we left off last week. That there's a concept. The Gemara says Gemara Shabbos goes through all the oisius of the Torah, right? Aleph, Beis, Gimel, Tov, Tav, and every letter has a meaning towards the next one. For example, Gimel means goimel, to be doing good. What? To dalim, to poor people. Every letter goes. So the Gemara says we have mem, right? A mem is open, right? So mem pasuach, an open mem, that means to say maimer pasuach.
What about an endemine?
Oh, endemem, the Gemara says, is maimer sasam. The mem, the open mem is maimer pasuach, something that you could still say, you're allowed to reveal.
Wow.
Yeah, the closed mem is maimer sasam, the secrets of Torah you're not allowed to reveal. Then we go nun, right? So nun, the last nun is Nemon Pashut. Nemon Pashut means to say Nemon is trustworthy. When it's revealed, being trustworthy. That's the way Reb Nachman's on it. So the Reb Nachman is saying that the Gemara says Maimer Pasuach. Maimer Pasuach says Reb Nachman, this whole Maimer is revolving around the idea of das, right? Maimer Pasuach ze bechinas as galas hadas. Yeah, Maimer Pesuach is when the das is being revealed. Why? Ki adibor who is galus hadas. Dibor, you have it? Dibor is as galus hadas, right? Meaning to say as follows. Das is a certain level of understanding, right? Of clarity. Now, how do I reveal what I understand? Through my dibor, right? Through my speech. So dibor is revealing the das. Like it says a pasuk, piv from his mouth das tvuna. Gets revealed das tvuna. Tvuna is bina. Mitzrayim says Nachman Mitzrayim shoya das v'galus. Mitzrayim the das wasn't galus. What does that mean? The das wasn't in galus? Again, we learned that what does das mean? Das means to say that canals the Rebbeinu Shalom in a very clear way. Mitzrayim, what does Mitzrayim mean? Mitzrayim is a dark place. Means to say the das wasn't galus. Right? Means to say we didn't properly acknowledge the Rebbeinu Shalom. The Moharan explains. It says in the Medrash that when Klal Yisrael were standing in front of the sea before having the Gevaldige Nes of Kriyas Yamsuf, right? So it says that the Malachim said to the Rebbeinu Shalom, "In a split the sea for Klal Yisrael, what for? They're also idol worshippers. They're also Oivdei Avodah Zarah like Mitzrayim, right? That's what it says. Ask the Moharan, could it be that Klal Yisrael were literally Oivdei Avodah Zarah? No. So he explains that's not what it means. It means to say that they were saying since Mitzrayim is a place of Hester, of hiddenness, right? And the hiddenness, we don't have the proper das, like Rav Nachman's saying, right? So that's a concept of Avodah Zarah. You're not properly acknowledging the bunch. That's what the Malachim was saying. That Klal so one we'll see soon what the answer on that time of the Malachim are. It says Rav Nachman, like it says on Mitzrayim, B'shmi Hashem lo nadati lahem. The Rebbeinu Shalom tells Moshe Rabbeinu Mitzrayim, B'shmi Hashem lo nadati lahem. I didn't reveal myself. Shmi Hashem means to say the Rebbeinu Shalom being properly revealed, having das. If so,
No dati is revealed.
what?
No dati.
Lo noidati. Noidati means to say to be revealed the das. That's what Rav Nachman's learned. If so, says Rav Nachman, if the das was in Galus, Hoyagama Diba Bergalus. If so, the Diba was also, because we just said, what's Diba? What's power of speech? Power of speech is to reveal the das, right? So in a spiritual way also, if you don't have the das of acknowledging the Rebbeinu Shalom properly, then you don't have the power of Dibur, of speech, Dibur of Kedusha, right? For example, let's understand this in a very simple way. How could a person come to properly have proper tefillah to the Rebbeinu Shalom, properly his body, this mamish talk his heart out to the Rebbeinu Shalom? For that you have to have das, right? In order to mamish talk your heart out to the Rebbeinu Shalom, when you have das, you acknowledge properly the Rebbeinu Shalom, you understand that the Rebbeinu Shalom is everything in the world and everything in your life, then you can properly talk to the Rebbeinu Shalom, right? So through das, now you have dibur of kedusha. Whereas in Mitzrayim, that there was the das wasn't galus. If so, we didn't have the dibur was also in galus. But b'chinas kvad per kvad loshen. It says in Moshe Rabbeinu that Moshe Rabbeinu in Mitzrayim he didn't have proper the power of speech, right? That means to say that the whole of Klal Yisrael didn't have proper the power of speech. The whole of Klal Yisrael included in Moshe Rabbeinu. But when Klal Yisrael went out of Mitzrayim, Pesach, sheyotza das me'agolos. Our das, our power of acknowledging went out of Golos, and we properly acknowledge the Rebbeinu Shalom. Yotzav and niftach hadibur. Now they got the power of speech, right? They got the power of speech. That is the concept. Maimer Pesuach. Maimer Pesuach means to say something that you could say. Sheniftach meaning to say sheniftach hadibur and asgal das, right? That it got revealed. You could speak. You have proper dibur of kedusha, which means to say that your das was revealed. You got back das to kedusha to acknowledge the Rebbeinu Shalom. You could talk to the Rebbeinu Shalom now. The idea is galus hadas, and through is galus hadas and spashut the monas Hashem Yisrael. When we have proper das, when it says galus hadas, so now we see how trustworthy the Rebbeinu Shalom is. When you properly acknowledge the Rebbeinu Shalom, you see the goodness of the Rebbeinu Shalom. You see everything makes sense. V'nikashu naman, and it's known that the Rebbeinu Shalom is naman. Maftiach v'oisam, what the Hashem promises He does. V'zeh b'chinas naman pashut, meaning to say that pashut means to say shena spashut. It gets spread out. Namanosoi. The trustworthiness of the Rebbeinu Shalom. Right? Now, the truth is that Arizal says, this is Mamish that Arizal what Rav Nachman is saying over here. I don't think he mentions it. I don't think he mentions it in the Torah. It's interesting. The Arizal says that the word Pesach is a breakup of two words. Pesach, the mouth of speech, right? What does it mean? What does it mean? Vigad to Levincha, very good. But why Vigad to Levincha? Why do we gain the power of speech in Pesach? Power of speech is a gewaldige power that a yid has. When a yid could talk to the Rabban Shalom, when a yid could talk the truth, right? That's a gewaldige. Dibur has a tremendous power. You can connect to the Rabban Shalom in a very great way through Dibur. That's why tefillah is so special. His brothers is so special. So talk to the Rabban Shalom has a tremendous power, right? It says already, it's brought in even Shulchan Aruch. The Moharan Avraham says that the main thing of tefillah is the heart, right? So then why do you have to talk? So he brings from the Kabbalah, speech has a great power. When you talk, it's very, very powerful, right? But you have to have a power of speech. You have to have a power of speech. A person sometimes you can't really properly talk to the Rabban Shalom. Why? Because you don't properly acknowledge the Rabban Shalom. Reb Nachman the Baal Shem Tov say that if a person were to mamish acknowledge the Rabban Shalom, right, and know that when he talks to the Rabban Shalom is there, and the Rabban Shalom could do everything, Gevalt with a person daven, Gevalt he would daven pashat. He's standing in front of the Melech Malcham Lochem HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Rabban Shalom controls everything, can do everything. The Rabban Shalom is listening to you, waiting to listen to you. Right? So Gevalt, a person should mamish just be davening, making his brothers the whole day. Right? But why don't we? Why don't we, Chas v'Shalom? We don't have proper das. So when you gain das now, see, Gevalt. Now we have the Koich HaDibur. That's going out of Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim means to say we didn't have the das. Av Mitzrayim, says Reb Nachman, Shoya das begalus, lo nispashet v'nizgala namunosa. You don't see the trustworthiness of the Rabban Shalom. You don't properly trust the Rabban Shalom. You don't properly acknowledge the Rabban Shalom. That's what Rashi says, that the Rabban Shalom told Moshe Rabbeinu, Shmini Hashem lo nadati lehem, lo nikartu b'midas hamitas shali. It wasn't revealed, my name, Hashem, meaning to say, seeing how trustworthy I am, my great Rachman. We don't feel trust in the Rabban Shalom. We don't have Amunah. We don't have Bitachon. We don't have Das. Right? That's called Hester. That's Golus. When it's hidden, you don't see the Rabban Shalom, right? So now you don't have proper Das. Geula is the Rabban Shalom being revealed. The goodness of the Rabban Shalom, the oneness of the Rabban Shalom. You have Das. And the truth is, as Chesed Toli B'das Kanal. We've mentioned before that Chesed, right? Goodness depends on Das. Right? We explained it at length. V'zeh b'chinas, that is the concept. There's an amazing Gemara. Anoichi, right? Anoichi Hashem Alikecha. Says the Gemara in Masechtas Shabbos that Anoichi is a breakup. Anoichi is Yehiva. It's a Rosh Tevis. Yehiva. The Rabban Shalom says Yehiva Ksiva. I gave a script, right? The Torah. Namonam Amareho. The words of the Torah are trustworthy. What does that mean? It says Abnachim Shalidain is seen as a Torah. Through that the Rabban Shalom gave us the Torah. Niftach HaMamer, right? Gets opened up the Maimer. Which Maimer? The Maimer meaning to say, in general, the Kedusha, right? The Emes gets revealed. We could say it out. It's clear. That's through Torah. That's Shavuos. That's the great Rachmim of Shavuos that is revealed. The Mikvah. The mikvah of Shavuos, the Shayach HaMishim, the great Rachmim of the Rabban Shalom. And when does that all start in Pesach? When we go out of Mitzrayim, when the opposite of that, when it's Gal Das, Kanal. It's Gal Das. Through that gets spread out in the world the trustworthiness of the Rabban Shalom. That is what the Gemara is saying. That it's trustworthy, the words of the Torah. Right, that through that the Torah is revealed, the Dibur of Kedusha, the Das is revealed. We see the Rabban Shalom trustworthy. Then Rachman says, "V'zeh b'chinas man." That is the concept of man. So we learned this already last week. The concept of man, that man is the Das, right? Because what was man? Man was we don't have anything. Rabban Shalom sends lachem and hashemayim. You see the oneness of the Rabban Shalom. Man is das. And Nachman said every yid's parnasa depends on man, on betachin and Hashem, right? Betachin and Hashem. Do we have man today? Of course we have man. Yeah? That's why I'm saying like this. Well, the man came down, right? It says the man came down. There was tal, there was dew that came down, right? And on top of that came the man, and then there came tal on top of it as well, right? So that we get man. It's also hidden in something, a different type of tal. It's hidden in your work and your this happening and that happening and so on, but it's all man. Yeah. So that's what Rav Nachman said. Based on how much das you have, you acknowledge that. That's how easy your panas will be. V'zeh b'chinas man. Man is maimer namon, right? That means to say there's galus of das. B'chinas maimer pesuach nam pash kanal. Ki amonu b'chinas das gadol kanal. Because the man was revealed. We saw clear everything's from the Rabban Shem. Alkan Ochel B'nei Yisrael Hamana Ba'im Shana. It says in the pasuk Klal Yisrael ate the man. How many years? 40 years. Why 40 years? Ki ben Arbaim Labina. We mentioned before that ben Arbaim Labina, right? 40. The number 40 years of a person's life, 40 years being in the midbar, brings us to complete das, which is the madrega of Bina, the 50th, the 50th gate of Amuna. Amuna, Bina in general is related to 40, right? Ben Arbaim Bina, when you're 40, you reach Bina. So therefore, Klal Yisrael were in the midbar for 40 years, and they had man, right? They had man, which is his galus hadas. That's what Rav Nachman's saying. But let's stop a second and let's focus on what Rav Nachman's telling us over here. The idea of Yitzias B'Tzayim, and close to Pesach. The idea of Yitzias B'Tzayim. So Rav Nachman's saying that what was Mitzrayim? Mitzrayim means to say a place, like we learned before, well, Meitzah, very good, where it's narrow. The truth is hidden. It's hidden. It's a narrow place, right? Yitzias Mitzrayim means to say that we go out of that narrowness. We could now live with the emes, right? So Mitzrayim is, it's a dark place. You don't see the Rabbanan Shalom. You don't feel the Rabbanan Shalom. You're not living with das. The crowds are in the Rabbanan Shalom. Rabbanan Shalom takes out of Mitzrayim, we're zochet to das. We're zochet to das. Then we're zochet to man. We're zochet to everything. How were we zochet to that das?
How were we?
Yeah.
We weren't. It was Rachamim, no?
Oh, Zokt Eitan, very good. But what do you mean? We weren't Zocha. It was outright Rachman. Very true. But I have a kasha. That, okay, it was Rachman. If it was just Rachman, why did the Rebbeinu Shalom have to put us in Mitzrayim, then have Rachman also take us out? But what's the whole Mitzrayim? What's the whole process of Mitzrayim?
Bring us closer to Hakadosh Baruch Hu.
Oh, bring us closer.
Always.
What?
If you always have it, you're never going to be close.
What?
If you always have everything you need, there's not going to be a reason for you to come to Hashem and ask Him for things.
Oh,
Also,
very good.
purify
Ariel
us
said,
in some way?
what?
Purify us in some way by like putting us through all this, pain and suffering to purify our neshamas and to all this sin.
Very good. Very good. Yes, also true. Also true that Yisrael discussed that concept. Very good. All the Nakudas are very true. But let's take this back. Yeah, we're in the middle of a long Torah over here, right? Everything always comes back. Well, we have to hold track over here. What did we learn earlier in the
I
Torah?
lost track a long time ago.
So we always come back. If we didn't lose track, we wouldn't be able to come back. It wouldn't be so geschmack like Ariel was saying. So, Tzvi, what did we learn in the Torah before? That where we zeicha to the greatest art? We learned before in the Likutei that Rav Nachman says that there's Hester, but there's Hester b'toich Hester. There's the most hidden, darkest place, and from within the hidden and the darkest place, it was revealed the greatest art. Rav Nachman said, right? Mm-hmm. And Rav Nachman mentioned over there, "V'avarti be'eretz Mitzrayim." It says the Rebbeinu Shalom says, I would go into Mitzrayim, right, to take out Klal Yisrael, to kill the Bechorim, to take out Klal Yisrael. And we say, Ani b'lo malach, me not even a messenger, right? And Rav Nachman explains, what does that mean? A messenger means to say, it's me, right, but it's hidden. Myself is hidden within the messenger. Ani b'lo malach means to say, me, myself, I'm revealed. Says Rav Nachman, from where do we get to the Gila of Mamash the Rebbeinu Shalom himself, right? Where do we get to that? From within Mitzrayim. From in the Hester b'toich Hester.
From the lowest place.
From the lowest place.
The lowest place, really the closest. Really, Hashem. So, yeah.
Right? Very good. From within that hidden place, within the greatest Hester, we get to the greatest art. Nachman says that the greatest secrets of the Torah are revealed from within that Hester b'toich Hester. Right? So that's Gevalt. We go through Mitzrayim, right? Then we get to the Das. We get to Mitzrayim, we get to Das. Which Das? The greatest Das. To the mikvah of Shavuos, the Kabbalah Torah. How do we get there? From within being in the Hester b'toich Hester. From within the Hester b'toich Hester of Mitzrayim, that's the way we reach the greatest art. The greatest art we reach from within that Hester b'toich Hester. You feeling it, Donnie?
Yeah.
Felt.
But what, so that's why we went in. But how were you zocha to come out?
Oh, so how are we zocha to come out?
Meaning, we review whatever is revealed within Hester B'Toch Hester is why we had to go in.
Right.
But why at that moment after?
Oh,
that
so
moment?
here comes an akoda. This is mamish the example. I'm going to see a continuation of the Torah of Ramach, which is mentioned in the Arizal. Moshe Rabbeinu, right, is the one that has the greatest madreg of das. Okay. Moshe Rabbeinu is like the general das of Klal. So we explained many times that Moshe Rabbeinu and Klal Yisrael are one. The leader and the nation are one. Moshe Rabbeinu, his madreg is the madreg of das. Okay. Who was the one that dealt with Klal Yisrael? Klal Yisrael going at him at time, dealt with Klal Yisrael, got things going. Moshe Rabbeinu, right? Moshe Rabbeinu came to Klal Yisrael and said, "The Rebbeinu Shem sent me to redeem you," and so on. But we see that Moshe Rabbeinu had discussion with the Rebbeinu Shem. I should go. I shouldn't go redeem Klal Yisrael. I'm going to go. They're not going to believe me. A whole back and forth. What's this all about? What's this all about? The Rebbeinu Shem said, "Go redeem them. Go redeem them." What's the avoid over here? What's going on, huh? Huh? Yeah, it's true. It's true. Another, but another doesn't mean. First of all, he's talking about redeeming Klal Yisrael, right? Okay, well, another doesn't necessarily mean a person doesn't know they're madrego. You know, but you know it's from Hashem. But it's also true what you're saying. That's also true. But what's going on over here is the Rebbeinu Shem is telling Moshe Rabbeinu Klal Yisrael is in Galus, right? So what does it mean getting out of Galus? Huh? The Arizal explains the physical act of Galus is an outcome of the spiritual blemish, the spiritual pagam that there is of Galus. If you don't fix the root, you didn't accomplish anything. You didn't accomplish anything. You could be out of Galus, you're in Galus. What was the pagam of Klal Yisrael? The pagam of Klal Yisrael was that there wasn't das. That in itself is mitzvah. That's Galus. Since Klal Yisrael was pagam and das, Arizal goes through a whole cheshbon of what was the before going down to mitzvah. Yeah? The Gemara tells us that the reason of Galus is because Avraham Avinu asked Hashem, Hashem said that I'm going to give Klal Yisrael to Israel. Right? And Hashem and Avraham Avinu said, how do I know that I'm going to be Zoich to Israel? Give me a sign. Gemara says for that. What does that mean? That means he said that Tzachsaran and Das, Kaviyach. We have no Asog and Avraham Avinu, right? That Arizal has different cheshbonis. Everything depends. There was a Pagam and Das. That is mitzvah. You're in a dark place. It's not a consequence. That's what it is. You're a lack of Das. That is mitzvah. Right? The avoid of Moshe Rabbeinu was he's the power of Das. He's the redeemer because he has the courage to bring Das to Klal Yisrael. Klal Yisrael should have some type of emunah, some type of something, some type of art. Right? What?
And that was Moshe.
That was Moshe. Moshe Rabbeinu was the koyach, and that's the whole Torah we were learning on Likutei. The Likutei says that who's the one that reveals the das, the B'Toch Hester, from within the Hester B'Toch Hester? That is Mordechai Tzaddik. Right? No one remembers this. That's Mordechai Tzaddik. Mamish this. Moshe Rabbeinu is the redeemer from Klal Yisrael. He reveals the das, the cosmos of Rebbeinu Shem within the Hester B'Toch Hester. He brings some type of emunah to Klal Yisrael, right? Some type of emunah to Klal Yisrael. And now the Rebbeinu Shalom, like Eitan said, we're not yet worthy, but the Rebbeinu Shalom says, now I'll bring on you the filled das. I'll bring on you the filled das. Because Klal Yisrael, sometimes, Rebbeinu says, this is such a big aside. Sometimes a person is in a dark place, right? He messed up. He's in a dark place. Well, the person says, I can't fix this totally. That's not what Hashem needs from you. Hashem needs from you just a bit. Just a bit. The rest Hashem does. That's the Tis Mitzvah. Just a bit. We need Moshe Rabbeinu. Just a bit. Got a little something. A little something. By Taka B'nai Yisrael Hashem, the Pasuk says. They scram to the Rebbeinu Shalom, yeah? What does the Shalom tells you? Want to know where Geula starts? By Taka B'nai Yisrael Hashem. They just give one shout to Hashem. So, one little drop of das. Well, very good at you. Nachsh Aminadov. Jumped in, right? He jumped in. They were stuck. He jumped in. What's going to be? He jumped into the sea. What are you doing? You're going to drown. Some type of amunah. Some type of. The Rebbeinu Shalom came and split. That's the avodah. That's called. So what's the avodah of Pesach? The avodah of Pesach is the gewaldige amunah, the gewaldige or of Pesach, right? The gewaldige das of Pesach that has to be revealed. Hashem shines it in. But Hashem says, just reach out a bit. One by Yitzhak B'nai Yisrael Hashem. Well, just a little drop, a little spark of das. Yeah? Believe. Let the das be. Believe in the koyach of Pesach. You know what the Moharan says? Wild. The Edgar Moharan says that in what schus were Klal Yisrael taken out of Mitzrayim? Yeah? This question we're asking, you know what the Moharan says? Gefalt. So Chazal say Nosh Tzidkon. There's many different Chazal. The Moharan says as follows. Moharan says that Klal Yisrael made a Seder. They made a Seder. We make a Seder, matzahs and wine, they also did that. But they weren't yet redeemed. What are you making a Seder for? Because they believe they're going to go out. So for sure, Gavat, once we went out, the Koich of our Seder, but make the Seder, just but believe in the Seder. It's Gavat. Just believe in your Seder. Believe in your Seder. That's the Koich of Das. That's the Koich of Das. And we have to know the greater Mitzrayim we have. Right? A person looks, can't forget to say this verse from the Heilige Netzach Yisroel. The Heilige Netzach Yisroel was on the gewaltige Gerse Rebbes in Poland. Yeah? Heilige Netzach Yisroel, Alexander Rebbe. So, the Heilige Netzach Yisroel, the minig was in his Chassidus that the Chassidim would come to the Rebbe for the Seder night. For the Seder night, the Chassidim would come. Yeah? Netzach Yisroel came into the Seder. Netzach Yisroel was on fire. And he turned to the Olam and he said as follows. He said, a Yid that doesn't believe that even if he's in the lowest place, then tonight, Seder night, he could go out from the lowest place to the highest place, then he's the Rasha in that God. Wow. Right? Because what does the Rasha say? And actually, there's a piece in Yismach Yisrael in the Sefer that he says this. Because what is the Rasha? Oh, very good, Danny. What do we say in that God? The Pashup Pshat. The Rasha says, right? What's this that you guys are doing, right? So we say, what, you think you're not part of it? No, not got to state. So what's going on over here? Says this, you know what Pshat is? Pshat is, the Rasha says, he says, I can be redeemed, I can get out of a low place, I'm so low. You say, no, that's a Rasha. You got to believe the Koich of Pesach is, the Koich of the Heilige Pesach is, the Seder night. And more than that, the way we're explaining is, no, the more Mitzrayim you have, the more Choshech you have, the more Yitzias Mitzrayim, the more Das you could be Zocher to. Because we see, and that's what the Reb Nachman is saying. The more Choshech it is, the more it has to be Torah Hester, the more there's a greater Das that's revealed. So by the Pesach, we have to know that the Pesach is, we don't have to have big kavanas and so on. We just have to believe in the Koich of Pesach and the Koich of the Seder, and to do all the mitzvahs, the gewaldige simcha, and to know these mitzvahs are gewaldige things, and we should drink the wine and the matzahs with such gewaldige simcha. The Zohar says the matzah is food of Amunah. Food of Amunah. You got to work so hard, das, Amunah, you eat the matzahs. But just to do it with a little das, with a little Amunah, Gavalt will be shining.
Starting in